Last race we pushed our car weight very high during testing to try and optimize the performance gain. And this race we had the pace to finish first, but unfortunately one of our car parts broke at the end of the race. We qualified average. We can see quite a few of the top runners have pitted and they're doing more pit stops than us. We can see because our car has optimum weight compensation values, we were faster in the middle and the end of the race. Potentially our rivals don't have any or much optimization, that's why they were quite fast at the start but doing very poor at the end. And we can see we were about 10 seconds faster and we were definitely gonna win, but something blew up on our car and we lost a lot of time every lap, about 3 seconds, 2 seconds or so. And unfortunately we dropped to 3rd place, we weren't able to finish 2nd. You can see that we virtually have the fastest lap for people doing a similar strategy. And even if a part in our car blew up, we were still faster than our teammate by 45 seconds. And our teammate with very slow was able to actually finish 2nd in his group. So not much competition there, and a lot of competition in our group. You can see that our driver didn't have max stamina for the race. It's because that there wasn't enough time to recover and we pushed a little bit in qualifying and it drained a few more points of stamina. And you can see the car problem because something broke in the chassis. I also had copied the race results into my calculator tool. And we can see that from the calculator weight compared to actual weight, there was about 3 points more in the race. And I added some extra calculation to look at the average weight and the average difference and the percentage. Because last race we were only 3 points off in car weight, and I assumed because we compensated it from last race, this race the weight would be very accurate, but this race was also 3 points less and we only allowed 2 points of weight in the chassis, so it blew up. So it was definitely not worth the extra risk because we lost a lot of points. You can see that 1st place you gain 10 points and 3rd place you only have 6 points. So we lost 4 points compared to what we should be getting, and 4 points is finishing 5th place, which is quite good, and 4 points less would make a huge difference in the season, especially if you're short on points, and that would make the difference between promoting or not. While the mistake we made wasn't a huge error, it's still a minor error, but it's quite devastating, the effects. At least it wasn't as bad as a lot of the top players last race where they had to pit on the last lap. That was a critical one. If we look at the testing labs, we are like one of the only ones who have done a lot of testing to gain more performance for the car. And I also recorded the car performance before the race finished, and we can see that our car was 5th fastest out of the fastest cars, but we had a reasonable amount of money left. So the people who had similar car performance to us have either the same amount of money or less than us, but they haven't done any testing, so we look quite good in the amount of investment and expenditure. In Q2, out of all of the qualified people, we were 635 fastest, and Q1 200 fastest. So potentially our driver made a mistake in Q2, so we should consider using the lower risk in qualifying. Also had a look at the race lap times, and I came to the conclusion that we had slightly more weight compensation than needed, and our car was about quickest at exactly midway of the race. We want to put that to the fastest at around 1/3 of the race. That would be better. And we're not going to do anything with the temperature compensation because it's already quite accurate. And also added a few variables for the tire wear calculation to compare it with our calculator results. And we can see the tire wear was about 1% more, and the fuel was about 2 liters more in the actual race, potentially due to rounding. And we established that we need to add 3 points to the car wear to have the correct clear track risk. If you look at this race, our engine wouldn't have enough wear to make it to the end. And even if we downgrade our engine, we still wouldn't have enough wear. And surprisingly, if we downgrade our engine, our car would actually end up with more wear. So it's unfortunately that we would have to waste about half of our engine, since our engine is currently at 58% wear. So that's also a mistake, but we don't really see that coming. Normally we would expect the engine with level 2 to be able to downgrade to level 1 and reduce the wear a bit, but in this race that couldn't be achieved. That's why we had to replace the engine and lose a bit of money. We also established that previously the clear track risk was 28, and to gain the extra 3 points required to have the correct wear, I found that it was 37 points. So we're going to replace all of the stuff that we need and upgrading it to a next level. You can see that after the update, our car is a bit biased towards the power. And we also had that last season because the engine and the power parts wear down quicker, and only mid to end season are we able to have slightly more handling and more balance. Level 2 engine costs about 4.1 million and the 3 costs 5 million, so you can say we lost about 2.3 million worth of dollars because we couldn't get our engine weight to 90% or so and only got it to 58. We can see after the car update we have the fastest car now, and we can see that we have a good amount of money, and we know that Tucas hasn't done any testing but has less money than us. And we can see the testing points we have from the last 2 races, and it's going to become car performance next race. And if we compare our car to our teammates, we have the fastest car, but we have more money than them, and they haven't done any testing. If we look at our staff, the motivation was 15 and increased again, even if our car blew up and our race results weren't that good. I found it surprising. We're going to train our driver and do the same fitness class again to reduce the weight. We gained 2 points of stamina and the weight dropped again. We checked our car wear from the calculator after the update of the car parts. We entered it into our calculator tool. We also copied the track weather into our calculator tool. You can see the average temperature will be 25. And we can see if we do the freeze stop soft, we will have good tire wear. But we can also do a 2-stop medium. We entered the tire wear into our calculator. And we entered the required field. We also established from our calculator results that we need to add 1% to our tire wear to get the correct values. Last race we used the offset of 8.2%. I entered the 18 lap wear and we can see that our actual tire wear left will be 5%. That's a bit push. You can also see that the temperature at the last half will be slightly lower, and we need to do minimum of 18 laps to be able to cover the total distance with 2 extra laps. And if we do only 17 all, and then we have only 1 extra lap, and if we put the extra lap at the end, then potentially we don't have to see the tire wear go down to very low of the 5%, and this would be a good strategy to use. We're gonna find the setup for the car. We calculated the final setup and we're going to find the wing split. We used a 60 and a -120 and it had similar results. So we know it's the middle between 60 and -120. And we calculated that value to be -30. And we can see that the fastest time we got was -60. And we can use in between 30 and 60. We entered the middle value and we're going to qualify using low risk. We entered the Q2 setup and we entered 17 laps of fuel. Surprisingly, our qualifying time is about 2.5 seconds slower than first place, but he's potentially using a softer compound. The qualifying time seems okay. And we calculated that we needed 9% more wear for the compensation value. because the actual wear was 3 points more. And we added that 9% here, and we want to reduce the wear compensation value by another 7%. And we add all of this together, and we got 1.183, and we entered it into our compensation calculation. We entered the final setup for our car. Since our driver is probably going to start the race without full stamina, we're not going to increase the risk anymore. But if our driver had full stamina, we might want to increase the risk by another 5 points. And it will probably be a bit faster, and you'll probably run out of stamina around a third of the end of the race. That will probably be better. We already entered the fuel values required, and there's nothing else that needs to be changed. If we look at our teammates, the Q1 was very quick and Q2 was a bit slower. But in our group, our Q2 was actually slower than our Q1 time.